Set I'm free, y'all. Got the victory. Set I'm free, y'all. Got the victory. Set I'm free, y'all. Victory. Yes, I am. Set I'm free, y'all. Got the victory. Set I'm free, y'all. Got the victory. Set I'm free, y'all. Yes, I am.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. And this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and let us be glad in it. So good to see you this morning. And certainly it's a privilege, a blessing, and an honor that you've tuned in to the Hope TV. And particularly, you've tuned in to the Morning Dew devotional that is presented twice a week on the Morning Dew. And I'm E. Dewey Smith, and I am absolutely ecstatic that you've tuned in to this segment of Morning Dew as presented through the Hope TV network. It is my prayer that you're blessed and you're favored and that you're healthy and happy on today. And I pray that all is well with each of you. Good morning to you, Ronald Thomas from Conyers, Georgia. That's right. Keep on leaning on the everlasting arms. And as you're watching, I want you to please feel free to drop the line and let me know the city, state, and country from which you're viewing. We take your viewership very, very seriously. Good morning to you, Rebecca Horton, from all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. That's a beautiful city out there in Phoenix. And somebody wasn't praying Sunday in Phoenix because those Dallas Mavericks came through there. Good morning to you, Vicky, from 478. Vida Brooks from San Jose, California. What a beautiful place. Sabrina Duffy from Atlanta, Georgia. Josh Christina Jackson from East St. Louis, Illinois. Welcome to Morning Dew this morning. Glad to have everybody here with us. Nia Taylor from Decatur. She's from the deck where it's great. A blessing to you, Nia. Good to see you. Good to have you here with us today. And so I'm thankful to everybody. Celeste Burrow, blessings to you from King George, Virginia. What a privilege and what an honor to have you with us, Celeste. Blessings to you, Lynette Johnson from Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, home of the Derby. Blessings to you, Lynette. We're glad to have you here with us today, and certainly appreciate your presence here on Facebook. So everybody, drop me a line. Let me know the city, state, and country from which you're viewing. Good morning to you, Eric Murphy. Glad to have you here with us on Morning Dew. Tom Lyon, all the way from Victorville, California. Tina Williams, back in the saddle from Peach County. Eric Murphy from Birmingham, Alabama is in the house. Welcome, Birmingham. Glad to have you with us, and certainly I appreciate you for your support on Facebook. Angela is here from Chicago, from the Windy City. Blessings to you. I think that last name is Dolly, I believe. I don't have my readers on today, but blessings to you. But I'm saying that line pretty good. I think it gets bad when there are a bunch of letters connected, I believe. But I'm seeing. I'm seeing. Yes, I'm seeing, and without my readers today. So I appreciate you, everybody who's tuned in. And if you're watching through a platform that will allow you to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share, please feel free to do that. Every time you subscribe, like, comment, and share, you help us. Blessings to you, Jesse Snellings. You help us to expand this network. And we got some great things we're working on. Vida Brooks, blessings to you. We have some incredible news. And some incredible things that are in the works for the whole TV, literally exceeding abundantly above all we've asked or could have ever thought. And I'm telling you, when you step out and launch out, God can do amazing things, and your support is helping us to expand. And so subscribe, like, comment, share. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Help us to get the word out, please, ma'am, and please, sir. And we certainly be appreciative to you. Every time you like and share, that's really helpful. Your comments are helpful. We want to get these subscribers up for Facebook, on YouTube. I need you to subscribe to the House Folk Atlanta YouTube channel. I need you to subscribe to the E. Do It Smith YouTube channel. I need you to subscribe. Hope TV. I don't know all the platforms. We got so many platforms. I don't know where we are. But make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share. And again, everybody who's tuned in, whether it's Apple TV, Roku, Twitch, and Twitch is really growing. I ring blessings to you. Amazon Fire TV, whether you're watching through YouTube, Facebook. That's the official page of Pastor E. Dewey Smith, House Hope Atlanta. Blessings to you, Gwen Green from Ruther Glen, Virginia. I didn't know, Sister Green, that you were Aaliyah's mother. What a blessing. You've been on here this entire time, and I had no idea that our blessings to you, Vanessa Brown, all right, from Macon, Georgia, from the 478. Gwen is our event director's mother, and I had no idea until she recently told us. So welcome. You've been supporting, and they told her brother nothing, but welcome. Glad to have you here, and Leah's doing a good job on staff for us. So blessings to you. Glad to have you here with us. And thank you, subscribing. Well, yeah, subscribe everywhere you can. We're now over 85,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is interesting because when the pandemic started, my YouTube channel was more than the church's. Now the church is more than mine because I haven't been pushing my channel. But I'm going to start doing something with my channel too to get my channel up. Music and etc. Nathan Austin, is that Nate Austin? That's my brother down from South Florida. Blessings to you, man. I need to come see you, man. You know, anytime, any chance I can to get down there to Miami. You know, I hope y'all got everything under control. I heard it was crazy in the pandemic, but I missed him being in Miami in a couple of years. But blessings to you, Pastor Nate Austin. What a preacher and friend he is. So I love you guys, and I thank you so very much. Listen, do me a favor when you get a chance, check out the website of the Hope TV. We have a new website that we constructed that's for the network, and it is amazing. It's really a network website. You can go into the website. You can stream on demand seasons 5 and 6. Good morning to Kendria Sherman. Blessings to you. All the shows from season 5 and 6 are on demand. You can watch it. You can send out the links of the show. And if Facebook gives us problems, so sometimes they be tripping. Like Friday Night Live, they were tripping on us. Blessings to you, DeWanna Lawrence. They stopped my Friday Night Live. You know, it's just crazy. It'll be their first time. They're great. So I want y'all to make sure y'all watch the website, and always know you can always go to the website. So if you're watching YouTube or Facebook and you're watching through a show and something crazy happens, just go through the hopetv.com or HTV Now. Every program is streamed there, and we're streaming about 12 hours of programming every day right now. And you can watch from the website. You can send shows out from the website. You can send them through email or the apps. So whenever you're on the website, you can go through every show. It's all categorized by faith and family and lifestyle. So all the shows are concretized there for you. So when you get a chance, you can binge watch all the shows, from children's stuff to adults to comedy to sound mind to men to women to for singles. I mean, youth. I mean, we're just a plethora of programs there. Health, wealth, business owners. I mean, you name it. It's right there on Hope TV. So y'all check it out when you get a chance. And certainly I'll be appreciative to you for that reality. So thank you. And stay in tune. We should be hearing something in a couple of weeks about the Hope TV, about our Telly Awards. And we also were submitted for a regional Emmy Award. Y'all know that's high cotton. We start talking about the Emmy and the Telly Awards. And so we were submitted. And so we'll hear from that shortly. So thank you for your support. Also, family, I want you, those of you who can and will, as you know, since last week, yours truly was blessed to release my first solo project last year into the industry. My first industry project as a solo artist, my first industry project, period. And blessing to you from Monroe, Louisiana. Blessing to you. Thank you. I hope you come and attend our church one day. And I released a project into the industry and brothers and sisters, and it has resonated with people. And I've been blessed to be nominated for 4 Stellar Awards. My first time nominated for 4 Stellar Awards. Nominated for 4 Stellar Awards. Nominated for 4 Stellar Awards. And so the Stellar Awards is going to be in Atlanta in July 16th. And so she's got Billboard. I don't know if I'm, but I want you guys, if you're in town, if you're in Atlanta, the week of July 15th, 16th, I want y'all to come and be a part with us. The tickets will go on sale next Tuesday, May 25th. So go ahead and say the date and start making your travel arrangements. And so May 25th will the tickets go on sale. And so I'm excited, and I want the family to come and be with us for the Stellar Awards. I was nominated for 4 New Artists of the Year, Traditional Male Vocals of the Year, Traditional Album of the Year, and Special Event Album of the Year. So both the projects I released, both got submitted 4 Stellar nominations, man, and it's absolutely incredible. And I give God praise for it. So y'all make sure y'all listen out for it. The tickets go on sale next Wednesday, 25th. Good morning to you, Deborah. And so I'm grateful to God for that. Also, good morning, Esther Greer. I'm also excited yesterday that good morning, Eric. Good morning to you. That after several months, good morning to you. Thank you, Tasha. After several months of the radio programmers asking for it, they were asking for another. Good morning to you, Catherine. Asking for another song, and yesterday we submitted another song. Good morning to you, Ron Lester. And so yesterday my team submitted another song, my second single. We really had about 3 or 4 singles off this project, and the second. Good morning, Millsap. And so good morning, Belinda. And so the second single was released yesterday into radio, and it's already burning the charts. Just one day, people playing it. I mean, it's funny because last time it took some people several months for them to play it. You pay attention to it, and now this one was releasing one day, and it's already playing. I praise it's unbelievable. It's funny how people do. You know, a lot of them wouldn't play my first one that came out, but this one came out yesterday. Oh, thank you, Tina. So it's playing now. It's called "I Give You Jesus." So let's see what God does with this one. And I my son watch boy. Oh, look at you. So so y'all make sure y'all yeah. Thank you so much. All right, so that's good. Thank you. And so I want y'all to keep listening out for it. Call your radio announcers. Good morning to you, Loretta. If you call your radio announcers, your local radio stations, and request "I Give You Jesus" by E. Dewey Smith, we want to get it charted too. And I'm thankful to everybody. I'm not gonna make fun of people who playing it. Your mother and Tiff that love my music. Oh my goodness, praise God. What a blessing. So thank you to everybody who's tuned in and who's already playing the songs. It's only been out one day. It's called "I Give You Jesus." It's a beautiful song. The radio version is about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It's about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So we cut it down for radio. And shout out to John Webb and T.I. and Roger Willis for the great job they did with editing and mastering the single. And so we condensed it from 5 minutes to 3:30, and so it's ready for the radio. So call your radio announcers, radio stations, and hopefully this time it won't take as long for them to play it as it did the last one. But they're already playing it across the country in one day. We're getting reports. It's already registering. So to God be the glory. Thank you so much, Ms. Frederick, Irish Frederick. I appreciate you. So thank y'all. I Give You Jesus. Check it out. And if you haven't got my music yet, go to my website and you can download all the music. Good morning to you, Miss Danny. Thank you, Miss Florence. It was good seeing you Sunday. So if you want to download it, you can go to all the digital platforms. Or if you want a physical CD, go to my website, edewithsmith.org. You can order God Period and get the whole album. It's on my website. You can get the whole album, edewithsmith.org. If you want a physical copy, or if you want to download it, iTunes and Spotify, you can just go to God Period E. Dewey Smith, I hope you're blessed by the music. And so to God be the glory for you. All right. So let's get going. Thank you, Ron. So we're going to be talking today. We're in the book of Galatians. And I want to say a word as we're beginning about what has happened this weekend in Buffalo and Sunday in California. Thank you so much. And certainly the world needs Jesus. The world needs hope and some encouragement. I've been kind of discouraged and affected again, and been doing a couple of interviews with local news station. Good morning to you, Patricia from Carthage, Mississippi. But do you notice what happened Saturday in Buffalo and, of course, Sunday with these mass shootings? A lot of different things that we have to talk about. Number one, how people who can just get assault rifles without any type of clinical evaluation. Good morning to you, Priscilla. Good morning to you, Antoinette. And that's the first thing, how accessible weapons are, which is a whole conversation. Good morning to you, Bunny Proud. This thing about gun control, etc. Good morning, Geneva from Orlando. But it's also an issue, the young man, 18 years old, who drove a long way. Good morning, Jacqueline Banks. And drove from his home. Good morning to you. Brown, good morning to you. And drove to a predominantly African-American area of Buffalo with an assault rifle. Joe Horn, good morning. And had just the words written on his gun. And good morning to you, Roy. The degrading, disparaging term written on his rifle that was used by many races to describe us, African Americans. And then the number 14 representing the 14 words of the white man's manifesto. And then to see I saw the video footage I probably shouldn't have of you can actually see how he was shooting people and how he's getting ready to shoot one white person and he apologized to them. He noticed they were white and he killed another black person. And I was raised to love all people. I went to Alexander II Magnet School. Good morning, Roy. Central High School. I was raised with diversity. Raised with mankind and raised, in honors classes in high school and AP classes, and raised in playing sports to love all people. Raised in chorus to love all genres of music. And I'm concerned that it seems, in my opinion, that America has not dealt with its original sin of racism. And there are too many people to this very day who they get angry when you talk about racism. And, I've talked to my white counterparts and others, and even to my Hispanic counterparts, interestingly enough, and we all know that some people have used racism as an excuse for everything. We all know that some people, can cry wolf, and some people will use racism unnecessarily. We do know that. But just because some people have used racism unnecessarily or cry racism when racism was not the case, that does not mean that racism is not real. Racism is real. Racism hasn't gone anywhere. And this view of replacement, the great replacement, And we've seen this espoused on all of a lot of the far right wing media outlets. Unfortunately, even Fox News. And we've been hearing this from a lot of people, but I think there's a lot of fear in this world. And as this world seemingly was becoming more diverse, and I know America is a melting pot. It describes itself as a melting pot, Statue of Liberty, all that, all who wanted, you're welcome. But I think what is happening is the continued diversification of America has led to what's called the darkening of America. And what has happened as a consequence is there are people who feel that white people who have been in the majority in terms of numbers, seemingly what they're estimating is that if the trends continue as they are in terms of birth rates, etc., that America is going to become more dark than it is white. And so they call that the Great Replacement. Even Tucker Carlson on Fox News, he's been one of the main proponents. Newsmax. Sometimes I can't watch this stuff. It's so sickening. And Steve Bannon, who's one of the President Trump's advisors, and so many others. Replacement. And now it makes sense when you heard the Tea Party saying things like "Take our country back," and years ago, and because the question was, take your country back from whom? Who are you trying to take the country back from? I mean, if you're the majority, from who has the country? Even the nuances of "Make America Great Again." What period? What period? There's a lot of loaded terminology in that, and so what happens now? I don't know if you guys have noticed this. Is they feel that America is becoming not just diverse, but away from its traditional values, they suggest. For instance, I don't know if you've been watching television, but almost every time you watch television now, there's a family now. In so many instances, is a mixed interracial family. I don't know if you noticed that. You've been watching that more and more commercials. I don't know if you've been paying attention to that. People in marketing, you will see a white man with a black woman, or a black man with a white woman, and children, mixed children. You're seeing more and more of that than we ever have before. And I think when that happens, when you're seeing more and more commercials and advertisements of interracial relationships and mixed children, um, and then what happens is, and you add to that immigration. The Hispanics, they say, let's build a wall because the people are coming here illegally and taking jobs. I want you to put it all together, and then African countries they call them, Trump using an expletive talking about African countries. Haitians are not allowed to come here. So a lot of the European countries, it was okay with European people migrating here from other countries, the Scandinavia and other countries like that. But build a wall, Mexico, and keep the S-hole countries. So the darker immigrants have more of a difficult time. Even the Haitians, that's going back even to Bill Clinton and before. And so I'm not, and so all of this now, if you look at it, it's been laden with fear for decades. And the fear is the country is becoming too diverse. Now you have even commercial now where you have a lot of same-sex couples, even on commercials. Um, Advertising, so, and what that does even too, this whole thing about whether you agree in same-sex marriage or same gender love relationships, that's not the point. what we can believe theologically. But I want you to see a lot of this is not just based upon theology. A lot of this is based on if white men are marrying white men, and the white birth rates are lower, what happens is that means that less and less children will be born. If you don't have, and then now it's abortion. And no matter what in regards to what you believe about abortion, that even also adds to the lack of white children being born. And so what is happening now, when you look at immigrants coming from different countries, when you look at, and that's why the gerrymandering and the voter suppression and redrawing the districts so they don't represent votes, to make sure that different people don't have their voices heard. It is to maintain power because it's getting too diverse. So it's not just about this Christian belief. That's why a governor would say that if a woman was raped, then I'm gonna pass a bill on a law that she has to give birth to the child of a rapist. This is that level of thinking is not just about abortion. It's not just about what the Bible says about abortion. That is, they're trying to turn the tides of what seem to be the darkening of America and lower birth rates, because they feel like they are being replaced. And so what is happening is many white people, yes, they feel like they're being, and a lot of these talking news heads, now these just people filled with hate and vitriol and fear are now, yes, you can catch it later, Antoinette. Yeah, you can go, it'll be archived on Facebook. And so what is happening is a lot of these talking heads are putting fear. I don't know if you remember a couple years ago in Charlottesville, Virginia, when they had their march, and you had these people, and that's when President Trump at the time said you had good people on both sides. When somebody got killed in Charlottesville, you had the skinheads and these neo-Nazis and fascists. They were walking around saying Jews will not replace us. Jews will not replace us. This is not new. This whole thing about this ethnic cleansing, this is not new. This is what Hitler was trying to do. Trying to rid the world from Jews, trying to make sure. So this goes way back. You're so right, Tom. They know they can't win with that. And so a lot of this is about the furtherance of power. A lot of this is not about just beliefs and about Christian doctrine. It's about power. And so they feel like, and so when you read what this guy wrote, now they're trying to blame COVID. Now they're trying to call him deranged. Now, if a Muslim had done that, they call that Muslim a terrorist. If a black had done that, they call that black a thug and a gangster. But now, when this guy does it, they say it's COVID. It's the effects of COVID, or he's mentally unstable. And so, and what's problematic to me is that most of the time when you see these mass murders, and now they're also trying to blame video games. They're blaming video games. I heard that the other day, and as if America is the only place where video games are played. Video games are played all over the world. Same video games. In Canada, they're played everywhere. The same video games, right? But why is it that video games are played in other countries, and yet mass shootings don't happen? Not even in the same neighborhood as they are in America. Same video games. So again, a lot is happening in our world, and the undercurrent, and there's an underbelly that's happening that I don't think it's gonna get better before it gets worse. I don't think if we don't do something, yeah, exactly. We're all in a pandemic. Um, I'm hopeful that things will be better. I know change is going to come at some point, but I'm concerned that we become desensitized to these types of mass murders. If you go from Sandy Hook to Orlando, I mean, it's I mean, shootings in churches. When did we get to this level of where we're just so desensitized? And there are powers that be, there's spiritual wickedness in high places. There is uh, there is a new brand of politics that is vociferously pushing these types of tropes and 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 negativity. And if we are not exactly right, you're exactly correct, Wayne. And you think about how many African American and Hispanics uh, who are unarmed for not committing violent crime were shot and killed. Um, well, there's Eric Garner selling cigarettes. Uh, whether it was Breonna Taylor sleeping in a house. When you think about that, Trayvon Martin walking with Skittles and a can of iced tea. Yet there is an underbelly here that is happening, and we need to really start thinking about the spirit. We got to be more spiritual than we ever have and we've got to start speaking truth to power. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Mother Emanuel and hate and this hate. I think we just got so comfortable and so desensitized, and we're not talking about it. And even this whole idea of this critical race theory, they're trying to ban it, but they won't ban replacement theory. Um, Spirituality has, yes. I think we have to combat this type of vitriol and hate with spirit filled people. We got to be more prayed up. We got to put more spirit filled people in office. We need everybody to start speaking. That was a time when most black churches spoke about these things, but a lot of our white churches don't want to address racism. A lot of our white pastors don't want to address that. They don't want to talk about it because they don't want to upset their the constituency. And you're exactly right. When kid killed people in Mother Emanuel, they took him to get something to eat after killing 9 people in Mother Emanuel there in Charleston. Um, I just listen. We can't. We need to be spiritually in tune. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. We don't fight with carnal weapons, but we have to engage the political sphere, because if we continue to sit back and not allow our voices to be heard, brothers and sisters, that's no telling what's going to happen. And elections have consequences. Sure, God is the powerful God, and God superintends the earth, the moon, and the stars. But God gave us government for us to engage in our own spaces. Government is something that God has given us domain over, so that we could be involved. And so God is not going to elect a political candidate. God is not going to elect a political candidate. I want you to think that, you know, um, God doesn't select city council people. We do. Praise God, Duana. Thank you. So I just want people to know right now that we have to get involved, and we have to um, live a spirit life. Now, thank you, Duana's playing. Yep, I got two songs playing for you now. Amazing. Um, I want to give you the scripture from Galatians 6. I want to talk about it. Um, I want to stay here for a moment, but I need to give you the scripture. It's Galatians chapter 6. And it talks about those who are spiritual. That's right, Geneva. Um, Bearing the infirmities of the weak. Um, and that's one of the responsibilities of a spirit-filled person. But there's a difference between the weak and the wicked. What we saw in Buffalo and what we saw Sunday is wickedness. Is wickedness. And now people are trying to make justification. They're trying to justify. Tucker Carlson is trying to suggest that replacement theory, white replacement is a political statement. That's not political. That's not a political. That's a racist trope. That is racist. Is xenophobic. And it all has its roots in they have what's called the white man's Bible and the white man's manifesto. And so all this stuff it's been under the surface for years. But the fans of fear have been raging for so long. And the question I have to the main question I have to ask is, okay, so if the world is becoming more diverse, if they're projecting by the year 2050 that they're saying white people are going to be the majority, in the minority, if the current trends continue. More. So I want you to see where all this is coming from. So when you hear about securing our borders, all this stuff, this is not about, we don't have a lot of crimes. But you don't have a lot of blacks or Hispanics committing mass murders. No, that's homegrown domestic terrorism. All of that is code for too many darker people are moving to this country. And we're fearful that we're going to be the minority. But here's the main question I have to ask. Why are you so fearful? Why are people so fearful about coming the minority? Why are they so fearful? What is it about being the minority that scares them? So is it that? Here's the question I raised last night on a media interview. Is it that is it that you don't like how minorities are treated? And you don't want to be treated like a minority? We've been minorities for 400 years. So what is it about being a minority that fears you, that's so fearful? Why don't you want to be the minority? Are you afraid that you're going to be treated like the minorities? Because what about being the minority is so bad? That's what you say. If we all have the same access. So is there something about being the minority that's fearful? And if you can answer that question, therein lies the issue. Therein lies the issue that they're fearful of becoming a minority, which means they don't want to be in the position that African Americans and Hispanics are, or other minorities, or Asians. That's the issue. Because if we are fearful of becoming that means we don't want to be like them. And if we don't want to be like them, what does that mean? If there's no racism, if everybody has equal access and we all treated the same, so why are you fearful of being the minority if we're all treated the same? If everybody has equal access and everybody's on the same level, then why are you fearful about being that? You're fearful about being that because you know there's something that's unfair about being that. Because they reap what they sow. Are they fearful? Are they fearful that they'll be treated the way others have been treated? Otherwise, what are you fearful of? If you are replaced, what do you mean replaced? So the fear of power and privilege being taken, and so that's why the wickedness is happening in the world. That's why so many even crazy things have been said about this whole thing with abortion. That's why it's being said, because the fear is we gotta have as many babies as possible. It doesn't matter what the case is. You gotta have a baby because we can't have we gotta get our birth rates up because white birth rates are down. So if we can get our birth rates up, keep immigrants from coming out of the country. And so homosexuality, we're against that because that further hurts the birth rates. So don't get. So what I'm saying to you is that some people are legitimate against these things for their own faith reasons, but others, they're trying to do everything they can to get back in power, and that's the truth. And so I just want you to be aware of that, and know that, and know that, and know that. And so we just have to reimagine what's happening in this world. We have to reimagine what's happening and get our heads around what's really happening. If we don't get our heads around what's happening, we can't solve the problem. That's it, Allison. They know Mars marginalized. Got to replace him. Yeah. I hear what y'all saying. They don't see it leads to destruction. The fear is that, Allison, you're right, Allison. The fear is that, and they think they're spirit, and that's true. That's another thing. That's another part of the white man's Bible and the white man's manifesto that goes back to Nazism. That's why even Vladimir Putin, that's why Russia is taking on a new. When we came up the Cold War, Russia was our enemy, but now Russia has become the paradigm for many extremists and many whites. Now Putin, I mean our politicians, now they look at Putin as a hero. 45 wouldn't say anything negative about Putin. Why? Because Russia represents what they want. Uh, uh, Purely white domination, white power. And the fear is that, you're right, Allison, the marginalization that has the other minorities have felt, and disenfranchisement is not going to come their way. If you don't see it for what's happening, then we're going to lose it. You won't be able to see it. And so by 2050, they're saying the demographics will change. But all they're doing now in terms of redistricting, the appointing of the federal judges, they're trying to find a way to maintain their power base. They're trying to find a way now to make sure that that they can control the voting. In so much that we got voting police. They're trying to get back because they're afraid that others will get their voices. There was no election fraud. All of that is code for we got to get control of the votes again. Too many people voting. This is why this is why in Georgia now they passed a law you can't have Sunday voting or souls to polls. Why? Why can't churches have Sunday where we take people to vote on Sunday? Why? You know why? You know why they don't want us to vote on Sundays? because they know that we take people from churches to the polls. So now we don't want you driving people to the polls. Why not? Because they know a lot of African American people. Who was the first group that did souls to polls? Souls to polls. Who? Because they know that we vote in we gather in large clusters on Sundays. And so we can shut down souls to the polls and eliminate Sunday voting. Who are the people who voting on Sunday? So I want you to see this whole picture. Can't pass out food, can't pass out water at the voting precincts. We'll make the lines longer in African American communities. Why? Right? Right? Not making election day a day where you can take off. All of these things are work. There is a lot of things that are happening, and we look at it. Yeah, we look at it from this perspective. Yeah, I'm against abortion. I'm against same-sex marriage. So because those two reasons, many of us vote Republican. We're against abortion. We're against same-sex marriage, but we don't see the underlining stuff, that's happening in addition to that. And so, I just want you to be aware. I'm not telling you which party to vote. I just want you to be aware that this is what's happening in this nation. And yet, so we got to bear the infirmities of the weak. I think if you find that scripture, Galatians 6 and 1, and find it in the King James, yeah, look what it says. Now, this is what he's talking about, living creatively. This is talking about finding, if someone falls into sin, forgivingly restore him. Okay. This is talking about if somebody is in weakness, and I want to make sure I'm not going to go any further than this today, but I want to make sure I keep this line of demarcation clean. There's a difference between somebody falling in sin and somebody justifying evil. Okay, take the scripture down for a second. I'm gonna deal with that for a second. I'm gonna stay right there. Falling in sin and weakness is not the same thing. A passion or a weakness is not the same thing as perpetuating wickedness. Shooting 10, 11 people with an assault rifle in the name of race is a sin, a weakness. Going to a church is a sin, and shoot up a church, that's wickedness. Trying to marginalize and oppress people, systems of oppression, that's not sin. That's weakness. That's wickedness. That's not weakness. That's wickedness. Trying to strip the rights of people to vote is not weakness. It's wickedness. Having Hispanic kids locked up in cages, sleep on concrete floors, is not weakness. It's wickedness. To tell a young girl who was raped by her father at 13 that she's got to have that child and that decision is not hers. Now, and just because you say that young girl should have a choice doesn't mean you're for abortion. That's the other thing. Just because you don't believe in abortion doesn't mean that you don't believe that a woman should have choice. If a 13-year-old girl, and we've seen this happen over and over and over and over again, if a 13-year-old girl is impregnated by her father or a brother or a grandfather or an uncle, to force her in the name of godliness to have that child, in my opinion, is not weakness. That's wickedness. Especially if you're doing that simply because you're trying to overthrow. You're trying to get the birth rates up. And so, and it's just amazing how hypocritical some people are. When it comes to wear a mask, this is my body. I should do what I want to do. When it comes to that 13-year-old girl, forcing her to have a child by a relative that was conceived in wickedness, she doesn't have agency over her own body. And so, and a lot of this is done in the name of God and Christian beliefs. But at the core, there's a political, racist, fear-based agenda. And so we got to realize there's a difference between weakness and wickedness. When there's a personal weakness, the difference between a personal weakness versus a policy that's wicked. And what's happening in this country is that there are wicked policies that are now being perpetuated. Not because of the Bible, not because of faith, but wicked policies that are being perpetuated because they're trying to counteract what they feel is replacement theory. I just want to break it down for you. And so we have to, when it comes to brothers and sisters who are caught in sin, the Bible tells us we got to restore such a one. All right? I want you to find that in Galatians 6 and 1. That the difference between when a brother or sister is caught in sin. Look what Paul says, brother, if a man be overtaken in a fault, that's not a weakness. So when we're spiritual, we need to look out for people who are caught up in a fault, in a personal fault, in a personal sin. Something that affects them, something they did that affected them. Not was implemented on system of others, not something that was done to bring down others. But if a man or woman, a boy or girl is caught in a sin, in a fault, overtaken in that, spiritual people bring about restoration. Okay? You restore such a one in the spirit of weakness, considering yourself. Because guess what? Same way they were caught up in something, you can be caught up in something. We're all susceptible to faults. We're all susceptible to mistakes. We're all susceptible to sin. We're all susceptible to error. We're all susceptible to weakness. Anybody can get caught up in a fault. Anybody can get caught up in a sin. Anybody can get caught up. Yes, sin is a personal fruit. Anybody can get caught up. I don't care who you are. If somebody had a drinking problem that affects them and they're not driving and hurting anybody else, then we can't, our responsibility is to love the person who's alcoholic and pray for them to help them to get on and hope that they don't drive and hit somebody else. When the alcoholism causes them to drive and hit somebody else, then that's a problem. There are consequences, but we got to pray for somebody's get caught up in pornography and profanity and something that was sexual. Right. That's a good point too, Thomas Carroll. That's a great point, Thomas Carroll. How you're exactly right. How some medical facilities now, that he is so right, and it's been going on for years. How many doctors have been giving black women hysterectomies for years. Why? Because they want to reduce our population. So we can depopulate us. We can be a prison to lock us up, to lock our boys up. That crack can destroy us, destroy our families, So it's not an issue as long as it's crack in our communities. But when it hits the white community, now it's opioid addiction. Well, us it was crackheads. For them, it's opioid. Now we got to put money to stop opioid. So that's wicked. When it's sin, that's dealing with a personal person who caught up in a own indiscretion, a fault, a sin that affected them. Okay? When somebody's caught up in a sin, a fault, a mistake, a weakness, those who are spiritual, you got to restore. It's restored with humility, with meekness. Here's why. Because you got to consider yourself. Because you too are human. That's one thing. That's weakness. When a person is with a weakness. But the other piece is, but when there is wickedness, clinics and doctors giving black women hysterectomies for the same thing. Putting in policies, you know, uh, black boys being criminalized for marijuana, white boys getting probation for cocaine. That's a system of oppression, of marginalization, laws to take humanity and the equality. That's a system of wickedness. When the Bible says spiritual wickedness in high places, he's talking about the demonic realm, but I think it's also relevant to us even politically. Sometimes even in clergy, you have spiritual wickedness in high places. And anybody who's trying to suppress and oppress and marginalize, and what is happening now in this world, in news outlets, there's a spirit of wickedness. That's why that dude went and shot them people in Buffalo. That wasn't weakness. That was wickedness. That's what happened in California Sunday. They go shoot up a church. That's not wickedness. We got somebody from Buffalo praying for me, Jimmy, from Buffalo. Good morning to you. Right there in Buffalo, Jimmy, we're praying for you. Praying for your city. Happened in a club in Orlando some years ago. That's not weakness. I think 64 people killed in that club. Sandy Hook, all these mass shootings. That is not weakness. That's wickedness. And the way we combat wickedness, when there's weakness, you restore such one in meekness. You bear one another's burdens. You help them to get back on their feet. The marketplace, it's so many shootings, I forgot about all of them. It's so common. We've been so desensitized to it, Brandon. You're right. The marketplace shooting. But we're dealing with wickedness. And if we stay asleep, we don't keep our eyes together, we're going to have a problem. We got a problem already. The believers, we have got to get involved and see the plot. Listen, if we don't see it, we won't know what to pray for, and we won't know how to respond. That is a radicalization of a segment of American population that is as bad as what happened to ISIS. We always talk about terrorism with Muslims, but all the terroristic acts that are happening in this country, most of them not happen from Muslims. Most of the terroristic acts and mass murderers that are happening in this country are not from Muslims. No. These terroristic acts are being committed predominantly by white men, many of whom call themselves Christians, who have been radicalized by these extremist and far right wing tropes and fear-based innuendo. And unfortunately, one of our political parties seems to be the haven for that type of foolishness. Now, we got primary elections next week all over the country. And I just think too many of us sit back praying, but we're not involved. We have to demarcate between personal weakness and policies and public wickedness. What is personal weakness and what is policy and public wickedness? We restore here, we replace here. And what we cannot do is we cannot allow one of the things that we have to be careful of is you can't allow, and too many of us have done this, we've allowed biases and prejudice. We cannot allow what a white idiot did in Buffalo to make us paint everybody who looks like that with one brush. For then we become just like them. One of the things that I have been a victim of, I've been around. Sometimes a lot of white people are fearful, and sometimes even black women are fearful of black men. And I've been like white people, they have this image of black men based upon all they see in the media. Black men killing, black men shooting, black men in movies committing crime, they're hustlers, they're uneducated, they're thugs. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many times I got on an elevator with a white woman, or was going to get on an elevator with a white woman, and she looked at me and was fearful. Why? Because in her mind, a black man, based on what she's seen and heard, violent. And so people, that's so true, Thomas. What we can't do is start to paint it. Well, we got to realize that just because somebody's skin color is different from yours, and too many people letting that happen. All your skin folk ain't your kinfolk. All the people who look like you ain't your friend. And everybody who looks different from you is not your enemy. Don't let this racist stuff make you start judging everybody by their color, not the content of their character. It's real. Don't paint everybody with the same brush. She wasn't fearful. I don't know. Black on black crime is right. It's terrible. It's highlighted. And most of the time crimes are crimes of proximity though. You know, more black people kill black people, more white people kill white people. Sometimes crimes are crimes of proximity. And exactly. But the image and the messaging of black people, black men in particular, you know, when you see it on, if you watch news and all you showing is black folks committing crime, black folks going to jail. Movies have black people presented a certain way. Then if a white person comes around, you know, I was one of my buddies went to Asia a couple of years ago. We got off the plane. People came up like rapping, right? This guy was a preacher, but he got the Asian. A lot of Asians saw him and they got up to him and they thought he was a rapper. They trying to rap. He don't know nothing about rap. So these preconceived notions and stereotypes have made us to. And so what we can't do is allow hatred. We can't allow the wicked hatredness that's in others. We can't reciprocate that. Yeah, we can't. There are some there. We have to. That's right. We have to still never let our hearts become ones that are hateful. Be not overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. And I want to put that out there for us. That the difference between personal weakness and public wickedness. We cannot allow this to continue. That's right, Coach. We cannot allow this to continue. If we don't put our hands around this, if we don't start, and everybody has a part to play. Everybody's part may differ. I had to do an interview last night with Channel 2 News to talk about this. Some of the same things I'm talking to you about now. I was very honest last night with the news. Buffalo, you have a part to play. Whether it's helping boys, whether you're teaching, whether you're an educator, whether you work in an environment where there are other mixed races. Maybe it's going to lunch and have these conversations. Maybe it's sharing your fear. Let them share their fear. Everybody has responsibility. Maybe it's talking to a white person about, tell me what you think. Maybe it's talking to a Hispanic. Maybe it's trying to, why do you feel this way? Why do you think this happens? How do you feel about this? Be honest. Maybe if we reach one person at a time, how can we fix this? What do you think? Let me share with you where we come from. Where are you coming from? Let me hear your perspective. You hear my perspective. Maybe we can come and reason together. Everybody in their own way. Maybe it's teaching your son or your granddaughter not to hate somebody, to have a friend, and go on a play date to show them, because hate is taught. Yeah. 2 years don't come out the womb hating. That's not a biological inclination of hate. It's socialization. Personal weakness is one thing. Public wickedness and policy wickedness is another. But we got to confront it. I had to challenge one of my white pastor counterparts. I had to challenge him because he's like, just preach the gospel. Yeah, but KKK, they believe they preach the gospel. Yeah, no, I'm not. No, we got to call out racism. Call it out. Call out. Say white replacement theology, this philosophy is wrong. Call it out. I'm just gonna preach Jesus. No, you got to call out racism too. You got to deal with the sin of preach Jesus. Don't get me wrong, but you can preach Jesus and call out what's wrong. Jesus did it. Call out the marginalization. Call out the disenfranchisement. Call it. Call it out. And my prayer, brothers and sisters, is that we don't just let this die and go back and wait till the next mass shooting. Because I'm telling you, there are a lot of people. This killing that just happened in Buffalo, there is a growing undercurrent in this country. That young man represented the voice and the opinions of millions of people in this world. That is not an isolated event. He learned that somewhere. And he represents millions of people around this country. Ignore it if you want. We may not know it because we don't listen to those things. But it's out there. And if we don't understand what's happening, if we don't watch and pray, these types of things are going to be happening. There are people who are looking for places where black people congregate. Churches do get threats. New Year's Eve, churches get threats. There are people there. Neo-fact is out there. Sometimes people ask why church got security. Do y'all really know what's happening? If y'all only knew, they're shooting people up in malls now. There are people who look for opportunities to get rid of a bunch of black people and Jewish people and Asian people and LGBT people, LGBT people. There are people who want to just wipe these groups off the face of the earth because they feel like they are taking over America, and they feel like these groups are replacing white people. So they hate African Americans. They always have. They hate Jewish people. They hate Asian people. They hate Indian people. They hate any minority, unless you're a European immigrant. They hate the LGBTQ community. These are the facts. Because they feel like if we don't get rid of these people, they're going to get rid of us. This is the truth. Mass murders are not committed. We don't go out and just typically shoot up people in 20s and 30s. Just look at the mass murders. You look at the photographs and find it. Mass murders, we don't typically bomb buildings. African Americans, we don't typically do that. Most of the mass murders in this country come from homegrown white men. They are haters. They hate people. Hate and fear and ignorance are at the core. And it's painful because it's hard to imagine somebody hates you and you've never done that. If you don't have a mind or a heart of hate, you can't. Many of us can't imagine going to a white neighborhood with a gun and just shooting up people because they're white, or because they're Asian, or because they're Hispanic, or because they're LGBTQ. Many of us, we can't put our minds around that. How do you just go get an assault rifle and just go shoot up? Because if we don't think like that, it's hard to wrap your mind around it. But we have to realize there are people in this world, not this world, in this country, who are like that. And then you add, and then you add it, and I'm not talking about mental illness. I'm talking about just, it ain't mental illness. It's hatred and it's racism. Don't demean. Don't try to get them off, but mentally ill. No. Don't just use that for white people that shoot up everybody, but everybody else is a thug and who socialize them and they didn't have no fathers in the home. No, don't do that. Don't do that. So what we're gonna do? So here's my final point. If it's a personal weakness, we're gonna love, we're gonna restore, considering ourselves. Somebody has a personal weakness, personal sin, we're gonna pray for them, help get them built back up. When what they're doing is not trying to oppress and hurt and harm others, no, we're gonna pray for them. But when it's a public and a policy wickedness, we got to call it what it is. This whole passage here is not talking about this, we're going to bear the infirmities of him. No. That wasn't no infirmity. That wasn't no fault. He wasn't overtaking the fault. That wasn't a personal sin. That wasn't a personal weakness. That was a public wicked act. So it's two different ways. If it's a personal weakness, we love, we cover, we restore. If it's a public weakness and public wickedness and policy wickedness, we gotta vote that out of office. We don't play with that. We gotta vote it out. We gotta call it out. You can't be going. No, that's not the same. And we got spiritual wickedness in high places. It's in government. It's everywhere. And we can't let this type of stuff continue. We can't. Yeah. And they found out that he was after the guy in Buffalo killed those people, he was actually looking to kill some more black people. This is the truth. And it happens in banks, happens in hospitals, happens in schools of higher learning. This mentality is happening everywhere. So I just want to enlighten, I just bring my thoughts on it. I know many of you have been thinking about it, but I want to bring my thoughts and share it with you by way of devotional. This is why the prophet Micah said we got to love justice. We got to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly before our God. We've got to love mercy, do justice, and walk humbly before our God. That's what the prophet Micah says in Micah 5:7. Love mercy, do justice, and walk humbly before our God. And the justice that we need to talk about, this hatred, these policy issues and public policy issues, and they're wicked. Many of them are wicked. We just can't coddle it and pray. We got to do some justice. Combat it. Expose it. Right? So justice and righteousness can roll down like waters, and righteousness is a mighty stream. I love y'all. Hope you blessed today by this morning dew. These are perilous times. God has given us dominion through government. We got to get involved, but we still not going to walk by fear, because God has not given, wow. God has not given us a spirit. I didn't know that was Pastor. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. We got dominion. And I'm going to tell you something. And Jesus said something. I'm going to close with this. It's not my words. The last shall be first, and the first shall be last. Those who've been marginalized and oppressed, those who've been let down and beat down and hurt, no matter, this is not just talking about race or class or ethnicity, but I believe the shit that's going to come. You won't be down always. Love mercy, do justice, and walk humbly before our God. Treat all people with love and dignity, whether you love them or not. Don't hate nobody. Okay? If you know, we don't hate somebody because of their sexual orientation. Don't hate nobody. Okay? You might, well, Pastor, I don't understand why somebody will. I don't understand why a man would love another. Why a man would love another man. I don't understand it either. I think women were the greatest thing God ever made on earth. I don't know. I don't understand why a man would love or would desire another man. I don't understand that. Right? But my failure to understand that doesn't mean I gotta hate nobody. I don't understand that. Nothing to me makes me understand why a man would desire anything with another. I don't understand that. Right? But I would not treat people who feel that way less than human and without dignity. Not gonna do that. Never. I'm gonna love everybody and treat everybody with the love of God. And whatever God's gonna do separate. I'm not gonna hate a white man because a white man killed somebody in Buffalo. I'm not gonna hate all white people. Why would I do that? I'm gonna love all people. I'm gonna love people I'm gonna treat people, and I'm not gonna hate people because I can't do that. You got to love everybody. Whether you agree or not, we gotta love people. See, don't let September the 11th make you hate Muslims because of Islamophobia. When you study Islam, you just study Islam is a religion of peace. Don't let Fox News and media make you think that all Muslims are violent. That's a lie. Christianity has just as much violence in it as Islam. Matter of fact, we're more violent because we outdate Islam by 600 years. You go back to Constantine and the Crusades, KKK, they burn crosses. They call themselves Christians. But America have you think that all Muslims are evil. You got more evil Christians, just as many evil Christians as you got Muslims. But our American media has messed our minds up. You can love your Jewish brothers, you can love your Islamic brothers and sisters. You can love your people who are part of the LGBTQ community. You ain't gotta be a part of something to love somebody. You ain't gotta be a part of something. You ain't got to agree or understand somebody in order to believe they should be treated with dignity and respect. You ain't gotta agree with somebody to believe they got a right to go to the grocery store without being shot. You don't have to agree or understand somebody to know that they can go out with a club and their family in Orlando and not be shot up because of their sexual orientation. Come on, man. Now you try to love everybody and treat everybody with the love of God. And know this, God's going to be the righteous judge. So inevitably, he going to separate the sheep from the goat, the wheat and the tares. You just do what you live your life in a way where you let your light so shine. And you leave the final judging and the final condemnation, you leave that up to God. That's how I look at it. But in the meantime, we have responsibility to fight against public and policy wickedness that oppresses, marginalizes, disenfranchises, and oppresses people. We have a responsibility. I got it? All right. I love y'all. Stay on the wall. And no angels are watching over you. Don't take a day for granted. You go to the grocery store, you pray God's going to guide you and lead you and take care of you. Don't live in fear. Go to church and believe you're going to be taken care of. Talk to your pastor about security teams. Make sure somebody around there packing. Right? Go early vote. May 24th is the early voting here in Georgia. Go early vote. You can't do too late to do your absentee ballot. Go early vote if you want to get in there early. Cast your votes. Be civically engaged, because elections do have consequences. You don't believe me? Look what happened. Look at what happened with the Supreme Court. Okay, so and every day, that's right. Ask God to lead and guide you. All right. I love y'all so much, and there's wickedness in the world. But if my people, he says, will call by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and forgive their sins, and I will heal their land. I love y'all. Y'all be encouraged. I know this thing is rough. I know there's a lot going on in our world, but God is still on the throne. And as believers, we believe we have victory. All right. Y'all be encouraged. Love you till next time. Peace.
Set up free, y'all.